Hello, thanks for staying with us. Welcome to Political Platform on Raypower FM. My name is Amechi Amapuize. Friday, Abuja is active, yes. From the airport yesterday, the support groups were active. You think it was a second independence anniversary for Nigeria. Every support group of the APC and presidency for Tinubu in 2027 is trying to prove their relevance, and so they chose the airport with uniforms, with decorations as they welcome delegates. We were told by the chairman of the publicity committee, Governor of Kebbi State, that indeed all the delegates are in town, and so tomorrow they will attend the APC convention. Indeed, select, elect, nominate, or affirm members of the National Working Committee. We were told it's going to be consensus, as we have seen from all the congresses, ward, local government, states, zonal, up to the National Convention in Abuja today. Then on Sunday, to be the turn of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, even when Seyi Makinde, governor of Lagos State, says he's not part of the reconciliation moves initiated by Tamim Turaki. Of course, they're hoping to join forces with the Wike group to see and forge a united front. We'll be dwelling on all this today. We'll also be taking you to London in the United Kingdom, where Shalaja Simi is. Of course, the development at the UN General Assembly some few days ago, issue of reparation for long years of slavery. The UN voted that slave trade is classified as the highest form of man's inhumanity to mankind. An issue of reparation championed by late MK Abiola came up. Now that the UN has designated it as a crime against inhumanity, what next? Those that benefited should be indeed paying the reparation. So Shalaja Simi, who's in the home of our colonial masters, those that were the biggest beneficiary of slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, are there. Some of your distant cousins, some of your uncles, some of your kindred are part of the present-day United States, the West Indies, and all that. We'll be giving you all this. Abulo Semuagu is there, and also joining us today as a guest analyst. He has been coming in the past as a guest analyst, a veteran, yes, veteran journalist and public affairs analyst, Nosike Oduenyi, also joining us today. Nosike, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Happy Friday. Barka da Jumat, as they say up north there. Thank you.
Yes. Sometimes those in the south will say, have we not lost Nosike to the north? Because he has served with key modern politicians, and so even his appearance, you think when he leaves there, he'll be going for Juma prayers. But it's all about unifying Nigeria and ensuring that we are one single entity.
I met you. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, CK.
Thank you very much.
I was struggling to recognize him outside when he was saying hello to me. He was struggling to speak the Hausa language, which I scored a C in my WAEC. I got C in Hausa, so I could pick. I said no. He said he's going for Jumat, and I was like, so later I now recollected. Oh, this is no CK now. He's wearing a Malam cap. If you're on my YouTube page, you go there, click there, and you see him well dressed like a full aspirant for the APC convention. He's sweet to be there at the Eagle Square today. It should be a carnival of some sort at Eagle Square today, where the APC will having a convention. I was there yesterday. I saw Dave Umahi and some other ministers taking an inspection tour of the area, preparations, painting, all the fence paint with APC, adorned with APC colors right now. And there's also a message from the head of service that civil servants around that axis should work from home. And that is
because the federal sectorial complex is situated just within the Eagle Square, the venue of the convention.
That area where the Eagle Square is the 3 arms zone, and this is what we have been saying. Even when PDP were having their mega conventions there and whatever, that this is the heart of the city. This kind of thing, take it away. There is the old parade ground where such things can hold. There is enough security there because the defense headquarters is close to the old parade ground.
Or maybe in the National Stadium.
Maybe National Stadium. So not in the heart of the city, but since the PDP did it and they kept doing it for so many years, I won't stop the APC from doing it. But we are expecting over 8,000 delegates to attend. 32 governors have said they are attending this convention. As you said, largely to be an affirmation, and they are running against time. Them and other political parties running against time. I think the Labour Party is going to have its own on Monday or so. We have not really cleared on that, but whatever the case, we are saying that if these delegates come, the FCT authority must ensure that the city is kept cleaner after the event.
Absolutely. Nothing could be get closer to the mic. A significant development for the APC today and tomorrow. The convention is actually tomorrow, but the formalities will be starting today.
Yes, let me see. It's okay because if you go around the town, of course, you see many big cars, police, security orders around. As I was driving here, I had to really navigate. So it's all part of the democratic process. Nobody can fault that. The space is widening, but all that we are saying is let it be expansive and inclusive. As we have the ruling party, we should also have the opposition, so that people will have choice, left or right, or this way or the other way. That's what we are saying. Let the space be very well open, but it's a good one. Nigerians should also take more interest in what is happening regarding governance, regarding what the people are doing democratically. So that is the only way. And how can you do that with your PVC, with your voting card? So as convention is happening, make sure that you are registered as a voter and make sure that your card is activated so that you too will participate. This is the time to prepare towards electing or selecting the candidates that will contest. So you should also prepare to exercise your franchise voting.
Let's welcome Ujueje. Big day for the APC today, tomorrow.
Yeah, well, if you say today, you may not be wrong because registration, a whole lot of things are already taking place today. In fact, members of the APC started coming in, you would notice, about 3 days ago. Most of the hotels had been taken over, of course, as usual, like Nasike said, it's a usual thing. And I would like to believe that it will be a peaceful one without rancor, because right from the wards, the states, there had been some kind of consensus. It has more of consensus building. So I foresee something like more of ratification than, elections. And the party has come out to say, look, we're going to retain most of our officers. I do not expect that it will be a lengthy one. Nosike would remember one that held by APP that we were at the Eagle Square for 3 days. 3 days of not stepping out of the Eagle Square. That's the hardest.
Maybe the presidential primary itself.
No, there were a whole lot of intrigues going on there. I mean, let's not go there. That's another history of Nigerian politics. It was more of three camps and one determined to get it. So you take this step, that one blocks you. It was full of intrigues, but it was very interesting covering such things. You know, it brings out the best in you as a journalist.
Okay, Abulu, is likely affirmation, consensus.
Yes.
Those that have been chosen by the party will be those that will be announced on Saturday for affirmation. There were allegations that some persons that wanted to buy forms did not get the forms to buy. Those that paid did not have issue. But the chairman of APC made some clarifications yesterday. They say, how do you expect the party, if a particular position, if say national treasurer has been zoned to northwest and you're coming from southwest and you want to purchase from there, you are a troublemaker. So they didn't want that trouble. So perhaps explaining why some people were denied the privilege of purchase of form, because they perceived them to be those that wanted to foment trouble by going against the zoning arrangements.
Yes, counting is 32 governors at the moment. One high point of the convention will be welcoming those that have become from other political parties to the APC, especially the governors. And I hope maybe they will be expecting governors, because there have been news around Bala Mohammed, whether he wants to jump ship or not. But let's wait and see. But as you have said, Amici, we should expect a little rancor, because some people will be there that really want to shake the table. Even if you tell some people, oh, we have a consensus candidate, Uju is going as our treasurer or woman leader. You saw what happened last time during the APC convention, where Betty Edu and I think the other woman, there was a kind of tussle. The woman came up on the podium and was saying that she was supposed to be a consensus candidate, blah, 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 blah. We expect such to happen. It's a democratic, as Nosike has said, we're in a democracy.
Okay.
And a lot of people express they express themselves democratically.
Clearly.
There might be some exceptions, because the Akwa Ibom State governor had said there will be no zoning in a convention. In terms of positions, you know, and I think that some governors have taken their own positions to based on the peculiar situations in their states.
They give, if they zone to a particular state or region, and within the region they zone to, in fact what they did is to even states, they zone and microzone to say, so when it gets to this state, the governor or whoever is the leader of the party, the one that controls the structure, will now be the person that will produce. But Nosiko Bweni, this is a convention that will elect members of the National Working Committee of APC. Very soon, from April, based on the Electoral Act, another conventions will be held by the different political parties to pick their candidates, presidential candidates. For the APC, it's clear that it's the president, sitting president, Bola Tinubu. For the others, it's going to be a tussle, especially within ADC.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for that question. But before that, let me just say something about zoning. Zoning is advisory. Zoning is not compulsory. Zoning is should not override the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me cite one example. During the election that produced Yahya Bello, so the party's ticket was practically zoned to Kogi East, but the man defied the party position and contested and got 1 or 2 votes. So what happened? Later the man passed on. That is late Abubakar. So yes, and then he became the candidate. So people should not be completely shut out. So that is very undemocratic for the party to say, oh, we don't want to allow.
But within the constitution of political parties, that is why
parties should not override the federal constitution. So that's what I'm trying to say. So parties should be very careful so that they don't infringe.
That's why people Kadozi APC can go to court to challenge. You shouldn't zone this, because the constitution empowers me to contest for any position.
But in politics, there's something called the gentleman's agreement.
That's what they have used, gentleman's agreement.
Like I said, it's persuasive.
Yes, you have to find a way to persuade.
Yes, it's not cast on concrete. Then you asked the question about the flag bearers. If you look at the trajectory of APC congresses that happened, so there was a pattern at every level. After there's electing the officers or selecting the officer through consensus Congress or whatever, then they would endorse the state governor, the particular governor, sitting governor, if he's going for another election. Then subsequently they would endorse the president, that is President Bola Tinubu. So it has been like that up to now that they've converged on the center. So even though the actual nomination of presidential candidate is happening not today officially, but they will still expect that there will still be that kind of, that's endorsement.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing we want to see. Now, when we are going to see drama, so many chauvins and so on, both Binet and on the surface are the other parties, particularly the ADC. So that's where the fight will be. So that's where the interesting scenarios will arise. So we wait to see what will happen there. For APC, is predictable, and we are moving towards that.
So ADC is unpredictable.
Highly unpredictable.
So do you think the ADC has been, and these opposition leaders have been opposing the APC as much as they should, in terms of coming up with ideas, policy ideas, in terms of criticizing the government and providing alternatives?
You have to look at it contextually, because within the country here, what is the color? What is the texture of our democracy? Our democracy here is very fluid in terms of political party, lines of demarcation. So issues revolve around personalities. If you go to APC, it revolves around President Bola Tinubu. That's the person everybody is looking at. If he turns to the left, everybody will follow. He turns to the right, same thing.
The body language.
So if you look at the opposition, two main characters, Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi. But maybe for some obvious reason, Peter Obi has been more on the field, moving about, talking. He has been consistent, talking about what he will do, talking about his character, his capacity, his being young and so on and so forth, talking about agriculture in the far north and so on, middle belt. So that is what I think. That is the dynamics. It's part of the dynamics, that we just. So to that extent, and he has also been criticizing. Atiku has been criticizing as well. So if you go to their X pages and Facebook and so on, so you see they've been churning out a statement, but it has not been easy, because the political climate is very inclement. It's very.
What do you mean by that?
It's very unfavorable. So
not as fair as it used to be.
Very unfavorable.
Unfavorable to the opposition or to the ruling party.
For the opposition, we must be frank with ourselves. So very, very difficult.
What has changed? Because EFCC, ICPC, security agencies were used against the opposition.
Thank you.
During the 16 years of PDP.
Yes. Does that make it right?
But what has changed now?
See what has changed. So what we're witnessing now. Yes, we must be frank. The level, the level of quote unquote impunity, by people who are on top is increasing, and that's dangerous. So the intensity, the space is almost being shot for people in the opposition, which is not good, because Nigeria never planned one party system. Of course, we know the disadvantages.
What from you?
Well, like he said, the weather has not been as clement as it was even during the days of PDP. Yes, there was a measure of impunity, but these days it's something else, and it's so dangerous, and so unnerving, because you look at the people who are in power today. These are the so-called pro-democracy activists, those that together we all fought to make sure that democracy is entrenched in Nigeria. Now you see what is happening, and you begin to wonder, is it that they have stopped believing what they used to believe in? Is it that they have stopped propagating what they fought for? It's happening. And I hope that the opposition will be given a free rein to do what they ought to be. Let the contest be free and fair.
Nosike mentioned something very important, that issues are around personalities, and it's very dangerous. By our considering, we always tell you that what we are practicing is transactional democracy. Where is the ideology? I'm sorry to say, I'm not it, but if you watch the way Peter Obi has carried himself and what he has talked about, he has an ideology: consumption, is torch. Let's produce so that we can make money. But what are other people saying?
Okay.
Other people go for criticism, go for mudslinging and others.
Okay.
Where is the ideology?
Well, we have to bring in the ladies now to read your mail. Majek is there, Fumi is there. It's just about the system of government we practice, the nature of democracy we practice. If it's cabinet system, parliamentary, it's all about the party. The party wins there, the party forms the government. But if it's presidential, it's all about the individual, the personality. So that explains why it's about the president and the opposition leader. In US, it's about the president and the opposition leader. You rarely have the party till election time, and so that may offer some explanation as to why we are seeing the big men, the personalities, play more role than the party as it were. In fact, a president in a presidential system can change national interests, change national policies, change ideology if you allow him. If you don't have those institutional checks, we are seeing it in US. US changes foreign policy direction, distance itself from his allies, went man alone. I say principle of isolationalism, and is upturning everything the US is known for just because of the ideas of one man, the president. And it happens in Nigeria. If a president thinks in a certain direction, like Nasike said, his body language, people, even without saying it, by mere reading of his body language, you see a lot of people follow him because that's where the power lies. That's where the resources lies.
Unlike in the US, the institutions are challenging those decisions.
Yes.
Do we have the capacity to challenge them?
That's the difference to the extent that they have. Well, let's have your mails now.
Okay, welcome to the mail segment on Political Platform. My name is Fumilayo Emopai.
And I am Aicheda Majekodomi. We begin with a mail from Joseph from Ogun State, who is writing to us on the subject of discourse, that is the APC convention, and it says, as the convention of political parties will begin very soon, how are the electorate going to decide their leader and leaders, as the case may be? When INEC refuses to distribute our voter cards to us, we plead to both the government and INEC to start the distribution of our voter cards so that we can show our responsibility as citizens, not the politicians giving us what we never prayed for. God bless Nigeria.
And this mail is coming from Emmanuel Nkama from Gowon Estate, Alimosho, Lagos. And it says, please, I crave your indulgence to observe with utmost disgust that the cause of insecurity, conflicts, and war among countries within countries is injustice, inequality, lack of fairness, economic instability, lack of love, hate speech, etc. It is difficult to believe, but it's true that most Nigerian governors appropriate to themselves almost $500 million naira sovereign allowances or pension, houses and cars after just 4 years or 8 years terms in office. Sadly enough, other senior citizens who serve the country with their youthful blood are paid peanuts, monthly pension and gratuity. As if that is not enough, the peanut monthly pension money is not regular. It's an eyesore and shame of a nation seeing frail-looking retirees sleeping at the NAS gate in adverse weather demanding a better retirement benefit after 35 years of meritorious service to their country. Here is appealing to President Tinubu to be compassionate enough and sign the bills before him, seeking to establish police pension board and exit the Nigerian retired police officers from the obnoxious contributory pension scheme CPS Pencom, which is inimical to their welfare and the moral of those officers still in service.
And on issue of crimes, Emekamba from Abuja says, news has it that the federal government in Abuja has affirmed, Federal High Court rather, in Abuja has affirmed the final forfeiture of a whopping $13 million of Lagos socialite Aisha Achimugo and her company Ocean Gate Engineering Oil and Gas Limited to the federal government, as the EFCC proved beyond all reasonable doubt that the money is proceeds of frauds and unlawful activities against the Nigerian state. This is commendable, but I ask, where are the government conspirators and accomplices, as she couldn't have pulled off such amount of fraud all by herself? After the forfeiture, what next? Is it going to be the usual go and sin no more, which is actually an encouragement to live and sin even more another day? Who knows? She might even get a political appointment someday, like the former DG of NIA, Olawale Oke, now an ambassador whose money running into several millions of dollars in cash was found in an apartment linked to his wife some years ago. Some former governors who have cases of fraud running into several billions of dollars in various courts are busy working and perfecting plans to make sure President Bola Tinubu and ruling APC continues in power beyond 2027. It's very obvious that corruption and crimes are being encouraged by the powers that be instead of fighting and punishing them.
And the final mail is coming from Amechi Obochi from Kubwa, Abuja. And it says, President Tinubu yesterday approved the expansion of the mandate of the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas to also cover electric vehicles as part of efforts to fast-track Nigeria's transition to cleaner and more affordable transportation. While this is a commendable step, one may ask whether the initiative will also address the conversion of conventional vehicles to electric-powered ones. Expanding the scope of PSANG is a positive move, but a more impactful approach would be to invest in and expand electric vehicle assembly plants within Nigeria, while also working to reduce the cost of electric cars for ordinary citizens. For meaningful progress, the government must move beyond a trial and error approach and adopt well-structured, sustainable policies that can effectively steer the country out of its current economic challenges. Tinubu must learn to plan ahead and not this our cut and join approach.
And this is how much you can take on the mail segment this morning. Keep on sending in your mail to us at politicalplatform@darkgroup.com.
Thank you so much for the news. We go straight to London, where Shola Jackson is whining and dining with those that colonized us and helped to perpetrate slavery through slave trade. Shola, thank you so much for doing that.
A very interesting introduction. In fact, I was at the Buckingham Palace yesterday, but like we say in our nursery rhymes, I couldn't see the king because I wasn't invited to see the king. It was the president of my country who was in the UK last week, and he saw alongside his wife.
And so the UN passes a resolution describing or designating slavery and slave trade as a crime against humanity. How is it being received in the UK?
Let me first of all start with the fact that, like many who went to nursery school in Nigeria, we were taught and reminded that there was a certain William Wilberforce who helped and fought with all he had to help abolish slavery in 1833, almost 200 years ago. It's put out.
We are struggling to keep at par with Shola. Can you hear me?
Let me just.
I don't know whether the problem is from our end or his own end.
Sorry?
Okay, we lost you momentarily. So we heard that the British permanent representative, the British mission in UK abstained from the voting, and this didn't quite go down well with the opposition in the United Kingdom.
Yes. So James Kariuki, the chargé d'affaires at the British mission in New York, like you rightly said, and he said, look, the UK is on a path, acknowledges the issues around slavery, but does not believe reparatory justice is the way to go. And like I said,
I think the network is...
Shola, sorry, we can't continue. Network not quite favorable. We can barely hear you. So we have to... can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you louder.
Okay, quickly now. It has improved now.
From here.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me just summarize. You seem to be out of time. The UK has said that it does not support issues around reparative justice, even as it acknowledges the issues around slavery. Its High Commissioner, acting, so to say, Mr. James Koroki, made that position clear in his 29-page statement. So, but the issues around what can be paid enough, the conservative leader, who is Nigerian, married to a white man, and a prominent politician, has been saying is what has been the talking point here. And not a few who are of black extraction believe this lady doesn't just love the black race.
What is she saying?
She's taking the position of the Conservative Party in the UK, asking that why didn't the UK government rather, he said that Keir Starmer's represented by the UN should have, not just abstained, but voted against that resolution, which is of course non-binding, Amechi.
Okay. So the opposition there in UK not happy with the position of the government to remain neutral while UN voted on that issue. I have to thank you so much, Ola, for giving us your time today. Okay, as we're out of time, there was one statement, Masiko Boini, that came up yesterday. I know you're one of those pushing for the creation of an Anioma state. It appears Senate President Godswill Akpabio a few days ago leaned towards the Anioma state, saying, yes, they will work and push towards the actualization of an Anioma state, and he went ahead to decree that the capital will be in Asaba, and the capital of Old Delta will now resort to Warri.
Yeah, well, that's, let me say, I'm from Delta State. Of course, I'm proud to be a Nigerian from Delta State. That statement, was received with jubilation all through Delta State. Whether in Delta North, where I come from, that's an Anioma area, or Delta Central, that's where you have the Robos, or Delta South, where you have Ichekiri, Ijaw, and the Soko. So all of us want two in one. We want to have these two states. We are united already as Deltans.
Why do you call it two in one?
That two in one, we have two states in one, because we are still within the same geographical space. So there is this symbiotic relationship.
But he said it should be the 6th Southeast state.
Yes, of course. There is so much link even between Anambra, all these on the chances, Newazis, and Delta State up to Warri, even Edo State. So this symbiotic relationship is there. So it's still the same one thing. So we are happy. Our people are happy, and
will those in the other part of Southeast be happy? They may say,
yes, of course.
Delta has been in the South geopolitical zone all this while. Why will something meant for the Southeast be given to the South? That now technically means South will have 7 states.
What is really the difference, between South and Southeast?
There's a lot of difference. There's a lot of difference.
Yes, let's say from
is it that the state is used to balance what has been missing in the Southeast because of all the 6 geopolitical zones? It's only the Southeast that has 5 states. Now, one would have thought that when you talk in terms of equity, then that would be to give the Southeast one state that has been missing, for years.
And Masike and Co have said that one missing state is Anioma.
Yes,
it's Igbo. Basically Igbo.
No,
so in culture, in language.
I think what is fair is fair.
Yes.
If you're going to give Anioma state, then it would only be fair that the capital should be in the Southeast or something, at least to balance that inequity that has been there.
Okay, do we come out on it and add to Anioma and say the capital
I don't know how they are going to
No, we just touches on something. In the military era before that, yes, he was pushing for Anioma state, and they wanted the capital to be in Asaba. All this on the Obaru, all those people, almost never be part of it. But people like Ombadi or Kadibu and so on, they kicked against it. So because most people are kicking, even up
there on the other side, just the river, separating Anambra and Delta.
Even if you go to
culture, similar. Language similar.
90% of the movement
yes
is being done by people from the
The
south.
debate will continue. Debate will continue, and I will continue to reflect our views on these issues. Thank you so much, veteran journalist and Asiko Gwe for joining us.
I'm just a Talakawa journalist. I'm an ordinary journalist.
With this your Jumat outfit, it doesn't look like a Talakawa. You look like one of them. You work with them, so you are one of them. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Amici, and I will have a good time.